identify what the main idea is. I'm sure our business faculty, our economics faculty will completely agree with me because they have paragraphs. This basically means when you take the main idea of a particular theme, whether it be a short paragraph or a three-liner paragraph, and that point you take the main ideas from each paragraph and then you put them together. That's called integration. Okay, so teaching students to summarize improves their memory for what is read. This is the best way to make, because I'm sure we all agree, we're all teachers. I mean, there's nothing, like I always tell my students, you can never really teach a teacher. So I'm not trying to teach my colleagues anything. I'm just trying to remind you that there are these hidden abilities of ours that we forget over the year because we are so focused on our own respective subjects. So what happens is we don't remember some of the basic things that we had learned earlier. So this is just, this workshop, what my purpose is just to basically remind you of those skills that you already possess. So teaching students to summarize improves their memory for what is read. Whenever you give your students something to read, like I said, this applies to all subjects, whether it be commerce, business, English, Bangla, or any other field, science subjects as well, because you have theories, you have points that you need to remember in a shortened way. Summarization strategies can be used in almost every content area, whether it be English, science, or business. So I kind of have tried to bring it to a point where I can explain the importance of why summarization is so important. Okay, a lot of students, even a lot of teachers that we know in our school or other schools, have actually asked me this several times. Isn't summarizing the same thing as paraphrasing? Now, this is a very common misconception. Don't worry, I'm not taking an English class. I know it sounds like it, but I won't. If I were to just boil it down to the very basic definition, it would be this. Summarizing means to put the main idea into your own words, including only the main points. Yet, when you are paraphrasing, it's usually shorter than the original passage and taking a broader segment of the source, which means that it expands the idea of the main subject but does not focus on every different context. That's paraphrasing. You're basically taking one word and just converting it in your own words, rather than you coming up and changing the whole structure. See, summarizing does not just mean to brief in something. It also means to take that sentence and put it in your own words so that it makes sense. It's not just about changing one word and, if the sentence says, I like to eat, then you cannot, if the student says, I like to consume, eat is a synonym of consume, so technically he's correct. But then again, that is not what summarization is. Summarization means to take the entire sentence and write the basic main point of it. Summary shows an understanding of the meaning of the article using your own words. See, the fact of in your own words is highlighted repeatedly because they want to make sure you do understand the importance of writing in your own words. A summary uses keywords from the text showing understanding of the subject. In the next few slides I'll show you. And a summary uses a sentence to explain each subsection or a paragraph and only the important ideas. If you are not a teacher who's regularly teaching summarization, this might go a little over your head. So when I go to the exercise, you will understand the purpose of it. These are the things that a summary does not do. It is not paragraph which are copied word for word from the text. Basically, in other words, in today's evolving generation, if we say copy from the text, they don't understand. So to speak their language, I tell them you cannot copy paste. They're like, oh, then they know we cannot copy paste. That's the best way that kids understand. This means in your own words. Furthermore, a summary is not copied sentences from the article with no further writing to show your understanding. Now, in the conventional methods of English teaching, what had happened is all we did was memorize and then regurgitate it on the examination sheet. However, with the modern days and us being modern teachers, we know better that it's not about memorization and regurgitation. It's more about understanding and applying it, application. So therefore, Here, if the child has not been able to show understanding of the text that he has read, he has not accomplished the task of truly summarizing. A summary is not a dictionary entry of the new words in the text. Like I said, some students think, I like to eat. A very basic, very structured, very basic sentence. A student, you give that to a student, tell them to write it in their own words. He will say, I enjoy consuming food. I enjoy consuming food. Technically, by dictionary terms, it's correct. But by the requirement of summary, it's not correct. So that is what I'm trying to explain. And a summary is not as it should be. I'm sorry, a summary is not and should not be as long as the original article. So if the original article is 3,000 words, the summary is definitely not going to be 3,000 words. This is the fastest way to remember, because like I said earlier, all of us may not be involved in summary teaching. I know we have different, my colleagues are from different aspects of teaching, so different subjects, maybe not all subjects require immediate summarization. But I will like to remind you all, and I'm sure you all will know this as well, in our university life, in my 2 years, I was just taught basic how to summarize, because this is one skill that will help you in your entire career, whether it be corporate, whether it be in a school, whether it be anywhere else. To be able to take information and boil it to the precise point is a skill. And there is nobody that can take that power away from you if you have it. So what we do is called, I'm sure we all know about the story of Midas. Anybody who doesn't know about King Midas? The man who wanted gold, he got the power, anything he touched went gold. One day he tried to drink water, water turned gold, he could not drink. He realized that his greed had brought out his death. However, it's a sad story, but I use the name Midas because it helps with the with my structure here. So if you can remember the Midas theory for summarizing, no matter which subject you're teaching, it will help you if you ever decide to focus on the Midas. Midas, M for the main idea. Identify the main idea from the topic sentence, because every sentence has a main idea. Or topic sentence is the first sentence or the first paragraph of the initial of the old introduction. And then you identify the supporting details. This is where you can write out bullet points for the student and show them. In the next slide, I'll show you how we did that. Disregard the unimportant information, as we had learned earlier, that we learn how to throw out the irrelevant information. Analyze redundant information. We analyze information which we deem as whether it's important or not to the particular task at hand. And simplify, categorize, and label the proper information. So if you can remember the Midas way, then it becomes way easier for you to, even if you're, say for example, one of our history teachers, or one of our history teachers are teaching a chapter on a certain battle, and the entire battle is 4-page long. A student of grade 6 or 7 is not capable of learning 4-page long battle. But when that student takes that 4 pages and summarizes it into say 4 or 5 paragraphs, there is a higher chance of him understanding that. I have learned stuff. I still remember some of the history lectures I learned back in grade 7, 8. Not because I'm intelligent, that's just because the teacher taught me really well. Now, this may look like a lot of activity. Please don't get scared. I'm just going to read with you and just really quickly, and then we have an activity, so that'll break the monotony. Summarize the text below. A tornado is a powerful, twisting windstorm. It begins high in the air among the winds of a giant storm cloud. People who have watched a tornado's howling winds reach down from the sky have said it's the most frightening thing they have ever seen. In some parts of the US, these windstorms are called twisters or cyclones. I'm sure you've seen the movie Twister and Cyclone, so we're familiar with that. Now, when you have a text as simple as this, it's very easy to summarize it. But those of us who are not summarizing on a daily basis might find it a bit difficult. So this is what we do. We take the main idea and the supporting details, which is, first is, tornado is powerful. This is a fact. Then, it's known as a twisting windstorm. These are all facts. In summary, there aren't no opinions, so it's all facts. A part of a giant storm cloud. We just read that in the previous, over here. It's frightening, I'm sure, and it's also known as the twister or the cyclone. Now these are the main ideas and the supporting details of the paragraph we just looked at. Now when I ask a student, if I give the student up until this portion and I tell them to summarize it, and they summarize it, that is when they have learned, because the summary of this is very short. I'll show you. This is the answer. Tornadoes are frightening, powerful, twisting windstorms, sometimes called twisters or cyclones, that start in giant storm clouds. This is like mathematics. You know how you have HCF, LCM, the least common multiple, the highest common factor? So when you're doing a summarization, you look at the most commonly used words and you just kind of like put it together as one. So the basic, most common words are tornadoes, frightening, twisting, cyclones, storm clouds. So these 5 were your main ideas. The student has been able to reproduce that entire text into this short paragraph, thus being able to fulfill the summarizing task. I see a lot of yawning, I myself. Basically what the task that we will do now is, in the white sheet provided, which I will be providing, create 2 acrostic lists with your name describing your positives and your negative sides as well. For your entertainment, I did one on myself. So when I look at myself positively, this is, I'm sure my colleagues know me better than myself, ma'am, so they can tell me. So I'm sure a lot of people may agree. It's funny, but it's true. If I were to look at my positive aspects, Emran, E-M-R-A-N, E for energetic, because I'm always running around, I'm sure Room 207 teachers would agree. I like to be meditative. At times I do think, I do get lost in my own thoughts. I even get in trouble for that at times, but I do. I am resilient. Resilient means that I'm rather reserved and also to a point where I can tolerate more. I can take, I'm a little more patient than normal. I am agreeable because I know my colleagues, they always agree with whatever I tell them, they right away agree to it, so I guess I'm agreeable with. And I am a nature lover. That is a fact. I've always been and I always will remain a nature lover. So these are my positive attributes. If I were to look at, say, one of my, somebody that has bad blood with me, or an ex-relationship, which I'm sure we know all about. So negatives, if they were to do an acrostic on Emran, this is what probably I can assure you. E for definitely evil. M, miserly. My friends, my male colleagues who always, we spend time together, they know I can be miserly at times, okay? I like to save a little bit of money. That might be a bad thing. I am restless, very running around, sometimes energetic and sometimes restless. It's a thin line. Some do tell me I'm arrogant because I like to pick out people's mistakes, so that's not a good idea. That's not a very good habit of mine, but it is what it is. And nettled. Nettled means irritated or annoyed. I get easily irritated. I have a very short temper, and this is another negative attribute of myself. So I was honest enough to put all my qualities in front of the people I work with every day. So what I want you all to do now is, I will be giving you some papers. Just kindly make a short acrostic for yourself. Like, for example, if, let me just give 1 second. The file, because you may need it for the other more important PDs. This is more activities just to, like I said, break the monotony, because listening to something can be rather boring at times. So once everybody has the paper, please take your Ma'am, can I share? Sure. So, Vice Principal Ma'am was kind enough to share her positive and negative aspects
I don't know how
through
honest,
acrostics.
I don't know how honest it is, but
For positive, M for meditative. She likes to think. I do completely agree. Astute, very keen, very sharp. Yes. Determined, definitely. Humane, we all know that. And very understanding. I'm sure we all agree. So I think, ma'am, the positives are all perfect. I don't know about your negative aspects, but I'll see. Melancholic, I guess there's times where you do feel upset about things. Adamant, sometimes I believe if ma'am says so, then I'm sure. Doubtful, it's good to be skeptical about certain things. Hot-tempered.
but I forget.
And you for unsure. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Can we please hear it from Vice Principal, ma'am? Bana, sir, please. Take that. M for positive aspects. M-A-R-U-F. M for magnanimous. Okay. Okay. A for 2, amiable, altruistic. I would go more with amiable because of the time that I've known you. Resilient, I would say definitely. Unafraid, courageous, sure. Fabulous. It's quite a narcissistic, okay, fine, we'll take that. Your negative aspects, you're miserly, yes, I guess. Like I said, we haven't spent enough time for me to know that yet. Adamant, okay. Rambunctious. Really? Please tell us, what is the, I don't even know, what is the meaning of rambunctious? What does that mean, sir? Please give sir a mic. Yes, we need a vocabulary session as well.
So, basically I mean that I have the habit of living in fantasy.
Daydreamer.
A
daydreamer.
That's what I mean by rambunctious.
See, learning is every day. Even today I learned a new word. I didn't know what rambunctious was. Yes, ma'am.
Simple things and complicated.
Very simple things in very complicated words, exactly. Uncertain, okay, and fallible, okay, imperfect, that makes sense, okay. Well, thank you, Maru sir. Can you please hear it from Maru sir as well? Give this paper back to me. So, are we done, ma'am? Let's see, ma'am was honest enough to share her positive and negative aspects. So Mori ma'am, positive first, can I read? Is that okay? Sure. M-O-U-R-E-E, modest, optimistic, unchanging, resilient, energetic, and empathetic. So I'm sure, I don't really know you that well, but I'm sure the colleagues that know you better will definitely agree. So good. The negative aspects, mistaken, you make a lot of mistakes, is that what you're trying to say? Okay, okay. Obsessive, we tend to be. Unambitious, okay. Reserved, reserved, is that really a negative aspect? That's the good, I think it's a more positive, it's kind of borderline, so okay. Emotional, effeminate, okay, I would say so. But nice, thank you, Mori ma'am. Can you please hear it from Mori ma'am as well? So I don't have too much time. I have to get to the end of this to come and talk to you because he's just too shy. It's very possible. These are kids. And stage 5, prepare for the next section. So give them a gist of what's coming up next before you finish the chapter so that they know what to prepare. So maybe 1 or 2 of those children, when they're home later on that day, they might just think, oh, sir said this, let's look it up on Google. Let's YouTube it. They have nothing to watch on YouTube. Watch a video on the next chapter that's coming. Because some children do think about these. So this is your 5-stage game plan. If you go by this, my belief is that even though I myself, I'm being honest, I haven't incorporated all of this either, but I definitely do try. Even if you're doing 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them, you're still on the right track. There's no wrong track, it's just how we can improve our walking better. This happens especially, I'm sorry, HODs, I'm sorry, heads of school. When we teachers have observation and the naughtiest kid decides to start acting out, one of the tasks was to take a piece of paper and get all the I'm having. If you can ask any student that I talk to, whether the smile is 190% fake, but it's there. Because that kid does not need to know that my day has been going bad or good. That's not his concern. His concern is, when he sees that smile on my face, he feels a little better. He responds to me a little better. You know, Rosina ma'am, that is how I got Shudito in line. He was such a naughty kid, but I smiled and I always, praised him for even being naughty. And now he passed. So that was prime example. And then try to understand why your students are misbehaving. Sometimes some students don't get enough attention at home. We know all this stuff, so just kind of going over it. And have a bag of tricks. So we don't do songs, games, but we often resort to maybe YouTube videos to break, like I said, break the monotony. It's all about breaking that monotony. The minute the monotony sets in, a student stops responding. His brain shuts off. And those are some don'ts which you should not do. Don't try to be a friend or yell at them at the same time. Don't be their friend, but be understanding enough and friendly. There's a difference between being friendly and being a friend. I can put my arm around my friend and walk, but I'm not going to do that with my student. But I will be friendly with my student, but I'm not expecting you to be aggressive with them. And speaking of which, you'll understand the next section. Here, this is just a quick, fun activity. What's the difference? What's the mistake? No English teacher, please. Apart from my respected English department, anybody but that. What is the problem here? Irony is when someone writes, "You're an idiot." What's the mistake here? Yes, it should be "you are." So if you're going to write "you are an idiot" and you're writing that, then it's ironic because, who's the idiot? The person writing it is the idiot. So it's just, I sometimes read as read when it's supposed to be read as read. It's fun parts of English. English is not so much filled with fun all the time, see? We have some fun activities. This is for all of us teachers. When they really annoy us. I can see Tarana ma'am right there in the picture. I have a special set of skills. I can find your parents' number and I will call. I do this all the time. I look at them, I said, keep doing this and watch me walk downstairs and make your life hell for the next 2 days. No sir, no sir, no sir. So this Liam Neeson, he reminds me of all of us teachers put together. I'm sorry I made this quick. I went quickly through some of the other activities due to the constraints of time. I think this is probably the last. Before I go, there's a short 1.5 minute funny video, and then that's it. I'm sure we all want our tea and stuff. And thank you, Vice Principal ma'am, for sitting here and dealing with me and tolerating me for so long. And sorry, Moa ma'am, I talk a lot. I'm sorry. I know I can be distracting. So yeah. So, Laughter of Language, this was taken from a skit of an Hindi movie, and I really enjoyed it. I'm sure a lot of us have seen it on Facebook and stuff, but just for the kick of it. Yeah, stand up is good. So I hope none of us do that. Thank you, everybody.